Okay, good afternoon. My name is Eric Cortez, and I'm a student in International Studies 317, and this here is my media analysis. I chose to do my media analysis on a conflict that happened between Eritrea and Ethiopia, and this conflict happened in the years 1998 to year 2000. Okay, the introduction. The Eritrean-Ethiopian War was a conflict that took place between Ethiopia and Eritrea from May 1998 to June 2000, with the final peace only agreed to in 2018, 20 years after the initial confrontation. Eritrea and Ethiopia both spent considerable amount of their revenue and wealth on armament ahead of the war and suffered reportedly 100,000 casualties combined. The two neighboring countries have had a history of conflict in the past, due to Ethiopia having occupied Eritrea for 30 years. These past conflicts led up to the 1998 conflict that caused many lives on both sides. Our objective today is to learn the source of the conflict, the issues that lead up to the conflict, the impact that it had on both countries, the negotiations and solutions that followed. So a little background, 1974, Ethiopia had a civil war. Let me see what I'm doing right here. I don't know what's going on here. Civil war. They were fighting against the Tigray People's Liberation Front, which overthrew the Ethiopian government and ruled for almost 30 years. At the same time, Ethiopia was occupying Eritrea at the time. They had 30 years of occupation. So in 1993, Eritrea succeeded from Ethiopia after nearly 30 years of occupation. In 1998, war broke out over the border town of Badme. Both countries laid claim to the land. And right here is a little video. If you click on the video here, it explains a little bit more of why the countries went to war. Okay, so pretty much summarizes what I already put in my the first part of the conflict. So when you get a chance, if you can open up the video and check it out, it's about 8 minutes long, and it has a really, really good explanation about what happened. Okay, and also too, this is an article. One of the main reasons for the war in 1988 was over the disputed border town of Badme. Badme is a border town with about 15,000 Eritreans living in it. This article gives details of the dispute over Badme. So same thing here, if we click on and open up this article here, the article has a, it's from the teachwar.wordpress. And it details, what happened and what happened and why they were fighting over the town of Badme. And I still really don't understand. I mean, if you look at the territory, it's pretty desolate, a lot of desert and whatnot. So I really don't know why they would be fighting over it. It never really explained. They just wanted to both countries lay claim to the land. The next video here is a YouTube video, and it's the Battle of Badme. It's about 5 minutes long. It shows, the casualties of war. It's kind of, graphic in a sense. Not a whole lot of blood, but you do see some bodies laying around. You see what it really was like, fighting that war between the two countries. They actually interview soldiers from both sides. Okay. Along with the war, which has impact on the military personnel, this war also had impact on the civilian population as well. The fighting led to massive internal displacement in both countries as civilians fled the war zone. Ethiopia expelled 77,000 Eritreans and Ethiopians of Eritrean origin it deemed a security risk, thus compounding Eritrea's refugee problem. So both sides had refugees. They were fleeing the violence, but Eritrea, Ethiopia even made it even worse for Eritrea by expelling 77,000, Eritreans and Ethiopian-born Eritreans, they felt that were a threat, kind of like almost like what the United States did in putting Japanese in internment camps. Well, in the US, the Japanese were in internment camps. Over here in this region, in the Horn of Africa, these people had to go to refugees camps, which I'm not going to say that are they're not better than the or not worse than the internment camps, but they're not better either. Okay, and then also impact of the war continued. The war also divided families. Family living on the borders were conflicted on whether or not it was safe to visit one another. In this particular clip right here, I have from the BBC, shows two families, that live, near the border, and they had a wedding, and they were wondering if it's safe for each of the family members to cross. And I guess maybe I should open up. I didn't open up the other ones to let you guys know these do work as well. If you open the link here, the article will appear right here. And this is the video right here of the Ethiopian Eritrea border dividing families. Okay. And then also too, just to let you know, I guess we can go back to the other videos too. I don't have to play them per se, but just want to make sure that you are aware that they actually work. Okay. Same thing. It explains, the 1998 conflict in detail. Okay. After, losing people on both sides, a ceasefire agreement was made between the leader of Eritrea, Isaias Afwerki, who is actually still the leader of Eritrea today, and Meles Zenawi of Ethiopia. He was the prime minister there from 1995 to 2012. The peace treaty was signed in Algiers in 2000. Although the two leaders did not meet face to face, they both sent representatives to Algiers to sign the peace agreement. And this is the ceasefire continued. And this is a nice article in the LA Times that details the ceasefire, so Ethiopia agreement. It reads right here, pretty much what happened and what came out of the agreement. Okay. So in conclusion, Ethiopia, it was considered a military victory for Ethiopia, but a diplomatic victory for Eritrea. Ethiopian occupation of some disputed territories in the border town of Badme continued on, right after the 2000 agreement. Deployment of UN peacekeeping troops along disputed the border region, refugee displacement and humanitarian crisis of Eritreans and Ethiopians. Algiers agreement was signed in 2000. Most of the disputed territory awarded to Eritrea by the Permanent Court of Arbitration in 2002. So in 2000, Ethiopia still occupied a lot of the border town of Batme up until 2002, when it was awarded to Eritrea permanently by the Court of Arbitration. And then continue on. In 2018, a more formal peace agreement was signed between both countries. And there were some territorial changes. final and binding border delimitation by the International Court of Arbitration, and the border between the two countries were reopened. So if you look here in this green area here, let me go back. These were the areas that was Ethiopia claimed, but they were rewarded back to Eritrea. And over here in the blue area here is all that Ethiopia kept. But at one time during the whole dispute, Ethiopia occupied everything in this green area here. Okay. And then here are my sources, links to my sources, and that is the end of my slideshow. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you. Have a great day.